See, this is a difficult concept to grasp as to why proof is not put into the slot of truth and is put into one of the fluctuations of the chitta, the mind stuff. Because Patanjali being so immeasurably wise, what he is saying is your proof is not necessarily valid for somebody else, even if it is agama. Because pratyaksha, for instance, is the clearest case of that. It is manifest. Now, when we say that, we are saying to a great extent, it is manifest to me. And we know that this is not always true, because whenever we see those visual illusions, spot the rabbit in the picture. Can you see the elephant and the bull? Or can you just see? Can you see the lady, or do you see? Is that a young lady or an old lady? All those are aspects of what is manifest, pratyaksha. So what is pratyaksha to you may not be pratyaksha to anybody else. I always wondered about this. Colorblind people, color is not pratyaksha to them. They can't go out in the evening because traffic signals they can't make out. They can't make out when the signal changes from red to green, or they can't make out when the signal changes from green to red, which is even more dangerous. So again, are they wrong in what is manifest to them? Are they incorrect in what is manifest to them? Not at all. But it's just that. So that is why this whole business of proof is not counted as truth. This whole business of proof is still counted nevertheless as a chitta vritti. Because what he is saying is, what you consider to be proof, pramana, valid knowledge, what you consider to be valid knowledge has these three stools to it. That is the pratyaksha, there is the anumana, and there is the agama. So, you have what is manifest, you have what you can infer or deduce from the situation, and you have authority, or you have tradition. The minute you say that, you realize what kind of a messed up situation we are talking about, because historically and culturally all these three things have been widely different all across the world. Especially when we come to agama, like there have been so many cultures, so many civilizations, so many languages. Which tradition, which authority? Yeah, the Egyptians and the Romans and the Greeks, they did not even have the knowledge of the zero. So for them to write 19, it was a real complex business. They had to put two x's, 10, 10, 20, okay, minus 1. So then one yeah, one in front of the x, and you put the one on the other side of the x, that becomes 21. So the minute we cross 100 or 1000, the numbers become, yeah, because they don't have the decimal system. Did that prevent them from functioning? So the minute these three are taken as these are the nature of proof, what you infer, what is traditional authority, or even what is your own insight, because it comes up. It is the authority that comes up. Now, many places they will tell you to trust your insight, and that's not wrong advice, but your insight cannot cancel out everything else. And very often the reason why it is put over there is also that you need to keep checking your insight. Today in the Western world, there is this new trend that everybody is the guru and everything you meet is the guru, so you don't need a guru. Thank you. It's a nice way to perdition, it's a nice way to derailment. Okay, that's, you like that, that's a nice hobby, all right, please enjoy. What he is arguing is that what you consider to be certainty, what you consider to be valid knowledge, may be so only contextually. Because the knowledge or the skills or the kind of mindset, if we are put into a desert, we will die because we don't have the skill to figure out, we cannot look at the landscape, and depending on the landscape we cannot figure out there might be water there or shade there. What is manifest to us is only sand, sand everywhere. To a person who lives in that environment, that sand says many things. So whose knowledge is valid? Or whose knowledge is, whose proof is proof? There proofier, proofiest, yes? My pramana is more valid than your pramana, which is where all the trouble in the spiritual certainty communities come up, because each organization starts off by claiming absolute knowledge. My teacher is today, till today, the most advanced. Our system is the most perfect. None of them have read Yoga Sutras. Because even pramana, I'll give you, not pramana, anumana, I'll give you an example from my own life about anumana. I have this, anumana I have pretty good skill, because it's part of intelligence that drawing inferences become very, very easy. I used to work as a journalist for a long time, many years back, not very long actually, and I had one very interesting skill. Whenever somebody was going to quit, I knew, and I would announce, this person is going to quit. So when that happened about the fourth time, somebody told the editor that Rohit knows and he is not sharing, because he always says ki this person is going to quit. And so I was called into the cabin and I was asked that why are you not sharing this, or if you have the knowledge, because usually they quit because, when do people quit? When they are totally fed up or they get a new job. Yeah, not better, even new, because sometimes you're willing to accept same salary, same position, just so that I don't have to see these people's face again. So I was asked, what is this? Why are you not telling? I said, it's not, I'm just deducing it. Anumana. What do you mean I'm deducing it? How do you know that they're going to quit? I said, they stop complaining. What? Yeah, they stop complaining. They stop complaining, they put their head down and they do their work very quietly. But is that not a positive thing? From that, how can you deduce that they're going to quit? I said, because as long as a person has some investment in where he is or she is, if something is irritating them, they bitch about it, they complain about it, they criticize everybody. When they decide that this is a gone case, this is something that should be put into the garbage can, then they keep their head down, because they are sending their resume out. They are calling all their friends and saying, do you have any? And they keep quiet. When the person stops complaining and disengages from the environment, that person has decided, this is not my place anymore, these are not my people anymore, I am leaving. Now this happens in marriages also. That yeah. They are fighting, and then suddenly there is a false calm and a false peace. And things are much better now, we are not fighting so much. I'm like, things are not better, you're going to get your ass kicked very soon. Somebody is going to file for divorce, because when the person stops complaining about the situation, the person has stopped caring. There is no longer any personal investment in the situation. So this kind of stunned that person, because he was a very, very senior editor, and like, it never occurred to me to look at it like that, but now that you tell me, yes. You're a very clever young man. And I'm like, yeah, I am. Now that is an example of anumana. Okay, so it gives me a little social advantage. Now it might not have been correct every time. Maybe, but normally I see that as long as a person is complaining, criticizing, the person is still invested in the situation. When a person who's constantly been complaining and criticizing backs away and stops and then just starts quietly doing the work and everything, because when they go to the next job they got to show what I did in the last 2 months, how many stories I got in the last 2 months, so they bump up their productivity. And all these things, by the normal kinds of anumana, the normal kinds of inference, all these things would be a positive sign. And I am the one who's saying, Khatre ki ghanti, danger bells are going off. This person is quitting. So, what was pratyaksha, what was manifest, the behavior was in front of everybody. The anumana became totally different. What do we do? See, again we are missing the point. What do we do anumana on? What do we infer on? We infer on the data, we infer on what we see, we infer on what is fed to us, what is in front of us, raw material. So, anumana is directly tied to pratyaksha. So, that statement pratyaksham kim pramanam is actually almost like a statement of defeat, that which is manifest. Why does it need proof? I'm sure it must have been from some Brahman who got challenged, but why should we believe you merely because it's in your books, or you say it, because after Pratyaksham and Anumana, the next one is Agama, tradition, right? It's written in the books, we have always done it this way. So it was a very interesting thing for me in terms of how people process what they are experiencing. So again what Patanjali is saying is how you process your data may be mistaken, or the conclusions you draw from processing your data may be mistaken, because somebody else could be processing quite differently. I was processing quite differently from the rest of them, and my conclusions were proving to be more accurate, whether by luck or because that was the truth, I still don't know. Let us assume it is because of my personal brilliance. But it was just a very interesting thing. At that time I didn't have much knowledge of the Yoga Sutras and everything, but it is a perfect example. Now what has happened is that thing that I said has probably become a small agama for people. It has become probably a traditional kind of knowledge. Okay, behavior has shifted in these particular parameters, alright. We can now make the new inference. Yeah, and you can see this happening all the time. Most of the time we live our life from memory. We just do what we have always done, because that's been our education, that's been our school, that's our culture, that's our family, that's our, what is all that? That comes from that deepest layer of smriti, smritaya, it comes from the deepest layer of memory, which is like below sleep also. That's how unconsciously we go through life, which is why the whole process of awakening and living consciously is always called jagran. You like awake. You awake. That is the reason why the process is always called jagran, wakefulness, awakeness, because we live our lives in that deep unconscious habitual conditioning, even the level beneath sleep. In sleep sometimes you at least dream. So it's very fascinating, when I look at this man and I look at the way he goes to a layer that you did not even believe existed. Because all these things are uncomfortable. We don't like to think that we are just helpless, and we are just acting out the script that our parents put into us, and their parents put that script into them, and if you can follow it back deep enough, you will find that somebody says because my teacher told me so, or because my grandmother told me so. So the whole point of a book like the Yoga Sutras is to awaken you, and he is a scientist of consciousness. He goes to why are people not awake? These are the reasons why people are not awake. And these are the pitfalls, because these are fluctuations, vrittaya, they are fluctuations of the mind stuff. You actually think you're getting somewhere because now, ये प्रत्यक्ष है, मैंने अनुमान भी किया है, और ये देखो आगामा भी है. So now I'm actually getting somewhere, and you just might be going in very interesting circles. It takes a lot of courage. Like I keep saying, Yoga Sutras are not for children. Yoga Sutras are for people with complete steel hearts. You need to just look at it and, oh damn, Now, hugely funny, but it's very entertaining, because what he does to you is, if you really look at the Yoga Sutras and you are really engaging with them, and you are really learning them, and you are really understanding them, all these piled on layers and you come to what you really are. Whatever is your true self, your true authentic nature, that is what you come to. So it's of course, that also I have spoken about, no? Tada drishtu swarupe vastanam, that it might not be the best thing, but at least it is better than being a product of social conditioning. And he just peels it back one at a time, one at a time, one at a time. All these things are useful, all these things are valuable. But we must understand that they have their own set of issues, or they have their own set of problems, or they have their own set of limitations, and we might have purchased into those limitations. We might have just accepted those limitations and even internalized them. And then we think this is actually me, this is actually my true self speaking, when all that is like some nonsense that has been coming down for 300 years, and you're just parroting it. What to do? Our culture only is like that. Rather, our culture has become like that because our culture produced this. So this is why I say this is like the finest training. The Bhagavad Gita is to manage life. It is true, but this book is to transform life. Bhagavad Gita enables you to manage life, all the social situations, and even some spiritual growth and everything. But this book, okay, you want to become spiritual, come. First, let us demolish you.
It's like going to that army camp.
Yeah, absolutely, boot camp. Where they take away all your clothes, they cut all your hair, and then they yell and scream at you until you have a nervous breakdown. This book should give you a nervous breakdown. A real genuine immersion in the Yoga Sutra, the person has to crack. You cannot. Otherwise, it's just superficial. Most people, what do? They deal with the Yoga Sutra only from here. It's all commentary. This person said, that person said, the same chitta fluctuation, and not even, sometimes, okay, little bit pratyaksha, little bit of anumana, little bit of agama. And the entire Yoga Sutra is dealt with from there. And he very clearly says that won't do. That won't do. This is the reason why I don't speak too much on this, because I can actually see people are like, where do we go? Where do we hide? I'm like, nowhere. You cannot take your nonsense and survive. You have to let go. You have to tear your entire rubbish out of yourself, set it in front of you, set it on fire, and then do one little dance around it. Then you can go somewhere with the Yoga Sutra. Otherwise, you cannot come out of the Yoga Sutra the same person as you went in. That is a guarantee. It is a flamethrower. It is like, it will scorch you to your bone marrow. But look at the courage. He is writing a book. He is writing a book in the spiritual. In those days there were no spiritual traditions. Everything was religion. He is writing a book in the religious tradition, and he is putting the weapons right in the hand to question. Look at the enormity of the courage of those people. What? Here, you don't have to take it because it's in the book, because it's said. He's just putting the weapon right in the hand. Because all those things are still not you. All those things are still not your truth. They are not your authentic. He is not interested in any of the things you can accumulate. He is only interested in that deepest layer of authenticity, and for that he will tear you down. He will explode you. Just amazing. Just amazing, man. It's our luck that such a person was born in our country, in our faith. We don't deserve him. That is another matter. Let me not get into that, But at least we can do something. At least we can do something to seriously live. When you are given such blessings and you just ignore them, what can be said for a country like that? All in good time. Sarvam Shivamaya.